The year is 1872. A lone cowboy named Jebediah Hawkins rides his horse across the open plains of the American West. He's been working at the Lazy J Ranch for nearly 3 years now, ever since he was hired by the owner, John Riley. And in that time, Jeb has become one of the most skilled hands on the ranch, known throughout the region for his ability to wrangle even the wildest of steers. But despite his skills, Jeb is considered an outcast by many of the other hands, who resent him for getting the better horses and for being the boss's favorite. The tension between Jeb and the others comes to a head when the annual ranch rodeo is announced. It's a competition where the hands show off their roping skills in front of the other ranchers in the area, and Jeb is determined to win. But when a swarm of angry bees attacks him during the bull riding event, he'll have to rely on the help of the one person he never expected, the very person who's been tormenting him this whole time. Will Jeb be able to overcome his differences with the other hands and work together to defeat the bee swarm? Or will he be left to fend for himself against these angry insects? Let's find out in today's Western drama short film, Bee Swarm Attacks Cowboy on the Open Plains. It's a hot summer day in the late 19th century American West. Jebediah Hawkins rides his horse across the plains, whistling a country tune. His face is weathered and tanned from years of working outdoors, and his eyes are sharp and alert, scanning the horizon for any sign of trouble. Jeb is on his way back to the Lazy J Ranch after a week-long cattle drive, and he's eager to get some much-needed rest. As he rides, he thinks about the upcoming ranch rodeo, an annual event where cowboys from all over the region gather to show off their skills in roping, riding, and other events. Jeb is one of the best hands on the Lazy J Ranch, and he's confident that he can win the rodeo and prove himself to be the top cowboy in the area. But as he approaches the ranch, he sees that the other hands are already there, and their faces are grim. They tell him that there's a problem with one of the bulls that they need to sort out, and they ask him to help. Now, normally, Jeb would be happy to lend a hand, but he's exhausted from the cattle drive and just wants to relax. Plus, he knows that the other hands are jealous of his skills and are only asking him to help so that they can make fun of him when he gets tired and makes a mistake. But as he looks into their faces, he sees that they're serious, and he knows that he can't just ride off and leave them to deal with the problem. So he agrees to help, but warns them that he won't be sticking around for the rodeo if they do unlet him rest first. The other hands nod their heads in agreement and get to work. As the sun begins to set, the cowboys finish their work and head into town to get ready for the rodeo. Jeb stays behind at the ranch, tying up his horse and getting ready for bed. But as he lies down under the stars, he hears the sound of laughter and music coming from the town. He sighs and pulls his blanket tighter around him, wishing he could join the fun. But he's too tired and needs his rest if he wants to stand a chance at the rodeo tomorrow. But as the night goes on, he can't help but feel a sense of loneliness and disconnection. He misses having friends and companionship, and he wonders if he'll ever find it out here on the lonely plains. Just then, he hears the sound of footsteps approaching his campfire. He opens his eyes and sees the other hands from the Lazy J Ranch standing in front of him, their faces lit by the flickering flames. They re-holding drinks and tobacco, and they invite Jeb to join them for a smoke and a chat. At first, Jeb is hesitant, but he eventually agrees, and they spend the rest of the night talking and drinking around the fire. For the first time, Jeb feels like he might actually belong here on the Lazy J Ranch. He laughs and jokes with the other men, and he even learns about their families and where they came from. For a few hours, he forgets about the rodeo and the competition, and he just enjoys the camaraderie of the other men. Okay. But as the night goes on, the alcohol starts to flow, and the mood starts to change. The men begin to argue and fight, and soon Jeb finds himself in the middle of a brawl. The other hands are jealous of his skills and his close relationship with the boss, and they start picking on him, throwing punches and taunting him. Jeb tries to defend himself, but he's outnumbered and soon finds himself on the ground with a bloody nose and a black eye. As the other men laugh and jeer at him, Jeb feels humiliated and defeated. He runs away from the campfire and hides in the tall grass, hoping to escape the pain and the taunts of the other men. But as he lies there in the darkness, he can't shake the feeling that he's alone and unwanted. He misses his family and friends from back home, and he wonders if he'll ever find a place where he truly belongs. The next morning, Jeb wakes up feeling sore and defeated. His face is still bruised and swollen, and he can barely open his right eye. He knows that he won't be able to compete in the rodeo today, but he doesn't have the heart to tell the others. He ties up his horse and heads into town to get some supplies, avoiding the other hands and their mocking laughter. As he walks through the dusty streets, he hears the sounds of the rodeo, the cheers of the crowd and the announcer's booming voice. He feels a pang of regret and disappointment, but he pushes it aside and focuses on getting what he came for. After buying his supplies, he returns to the ranch, defeated and dejected. He knows that he's let the team down, but he's too ashamed to face them. He spends the day mending fences and avoiding the other hands until it's time for dinner. That night, as the cowboys eat and drink together, the topic of the rodeo comes up, and Jeb feels their disappointed gazes upon him. They ask him why he didn't compete, and he finally breaks down and tells them about the fight and his injuries. The other hands are silent, and Jeb expects them to laugh at him, but instead they look at their feet and avoid his gaze. One of them, a grizzled old cowboy named Clem, finally speaks up and says that they should go see how bad his injuries really are. The other hands agree, and they all head out to Jeb's camp to check on him. To their surprise, they find that he's not there. They search for him, calling his name, but there's no answer. Just then, they hear a commotion in the distance, and they see a large swarm of bees attacking Jeb. The bees are angry and aggressive, and Jeb is struggling to defend himself. The cowboys rush to help, and they use their whips and hats to try and drive the bees away. But the more they try to help, the angrier the bees become. Realizing that they need to work together if they're going to save Jeb, the cowboys form a circle around him and start whipping the bees away. Working together, they're able to drive the bees away and free Jeb from their stinger-filled attack. Once the danger has passed, the cowboys check on Jeb and help him to his feet. They walk him back to the ranch, where they can tend to his wounds and comfort him. For the first time since arriving at the Lazy J Ranch, Jeb feels a sense of belonging and gratitude towards his fellow cowboys. He realizes that they may have been jealous of him before, but that doesn't change the fact that they risked their lives to save him. And in that moment, he knows that he's not as alone out here on the plains as he thought he was. That night, as the cowboys eat dinner together, there's a new sense of camaraderie among them. They joke and laugh, and Jeb feels a sense of relief and happiness. For the first time in a long time, he feels like he's part of a team, a group of men who have each other's backs no matter what. And as the fire crackles and the stars shine down on the Lazy J Ranch, Jeb knows that he's found a home in the most unexpected of places. So there you have it, folks. Another exciting Western drama short film about life on the American frontier. We hope you enjoyed watching as much as we enjoyed making it. If you did, be sure to give us a thumbs up and stay tuned for more exciting adventures. And if you have a story you'd like to see adapted into a Western short film, be sure to share it with us in the comments below. We're always looking for fresh, new ideas to keep our viewers on the edge of their seats. Until then, thanks for tuning in and happy trails.